Hey everyone, welcome to the final thrilling instalment of Sintra or Bust, our epic 5,000-mile journey through Spain and into Portugal. You join us now as we head home from the Whaddya mountains via Bilbao. As always, things don't go entirely to plan, and incredibly we get held up at the ferry because we've paid too much. Mike, our third musketeer, had left the tour early, and we had no idea at the time what issues this was going to cause, or even if we were going to make it home. Our return journey takes us through the Picos de Europa. We're currently on the N621, also known as the Calle Enrico Herreras, one of the most enjoyable and beautiful roads of the Picos. I've planned a small detour in our route which takes us off the main road to go to see a bear on a hill.
Yes, Andy White, this is for you. Look at that.
A short walk from the car park reveals a fantastic view over the countryside. Notably, here the sheepdogs and mastiffs. No time to stop and stare though, it's time to climb that hill. And we've reached the monument of the bear, and I failed to stop Steve from poking it, repeatedly. And up here, a few hundred feet above the main road, the views are absolutely fantastic. Back on the road again, and a few more miles of the N621. I've travelled this road on quite a few occasions, and the views never disappoint. Down at ground level, we stopped for a breather and to take a few pictures of the bikes. Note to self, keep a picnic in the top box, just for occasions like this. You can make it from the Whaddya mountains to Bilbao in a single day. However, we're on tour and we're taking it easy, so we booked ourselves a little stay in a rural setting, giving ourselves an easy run to the coast the next morning. On the way, we stopped, as one does, at a mirador. This one is totally unpronounceable, but you can read it for yourselves. After a fairly long day in the saddle, we settled down in a basic but very friendly place for a bite to eat and some cool beer. Well rested and well fed on local grub, it was time to take another couple of pictures of the bikes, then set out on the final leg to Bilbao. The roads on this leg flow pretty well, but weren't a patch on the mountain routes we've become used to over the last few weeks. So it's only to be expected as you head further north. We did, however, take a little time out to capture one or two of those fly-by video moments. It makes for an interesting perspective, but in my view wasn't worth taking a special camera along for. In the afternoon, we got the hammer down rather on the way to our final town stop in Santurce. Apart from being very close to the ferry, I have to say there's not much to recommend the town as an overnight stop. Things went okay initially, as I needed a laundrette, and there was a bar nearby. However, there seemed to be no restaurants open at all, and in the end we settled for a very dodgy kebab in a takeaway. Note the moped parked in the corner of the restaurant. The next morning we got up in good time to make an early start to the ferry, and we were looking forward to getting on board early and settling down with a quick drink or two. However, once again Mike's early departure from the team caught up with us, and in a way that no one could have predicted.
To the left.
The good folks in the ticket desk at Brittany Ferries were completely flummoxed by the arrival of 2 motorcyclists on a ticket meant for 3. I'd hoped that they'd simply scrub Mike from the booking and let us on. In practice though, things weren't nearly as simple as we'd hoped. In order to keep the numbers straight on the boat, our ticket needed to have the correct number of travellers on it.
The booking is for 3,
Yeah.
but there's only 2.
Okay, no, and who is not traveling?
That seemed pretty straightforward, but removing Mike from the booking wasn't.
Yes, one person and one motorbike. We are missing.
But he's not coming at all.
He's
He came last week.
Okay.
He came earlier. So there's 2 people, 2 motorbikes.
Is Jeremy? Who's Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm Jeremy.
You are
And
a
this
member
is...
of the Club Voyage?
Huh?
You are a member of the Club Voyage?
Sorry, I can't hear.
Are you a member of Club Voyage?
No.
After much waiting around for the ferry staff to make inquiries with their colleagues in the UK, it turns out that I'd made a booking in the UK and the people in Spain couldn't alter it. And so we found ourselves with the mother of a catch-22. The lady in the booth, whilst being really polite and doing her best to help, kept reassuring us that it wasn't the case of us not being able to get on the ferry, it was just that she couldn't let us onto the ferry.
Sorry, I can hear you better now.
You have to follow
Yes.
lane number 6.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Is
so
it okay?
I contact the UK offices and they're going to try to sort it out for me because it's weird because it's done under the Club Voyage website but with no Club Voyage number.
Can I
Yeah,
pay?
no, it's fine because it's everything paid. You're not going to be...
You're not going to
in
be
theory,
refused?
you don't have to pay anything else.
Yeah.
But I'm not allowed to modify the booking. Usually I am, so that's why I call them. They
Yeah, yeah.
to talk to the
No, I understand.
supervisor reservation. They call me back in a few moments. Okay? But it's fine.
Do you want us to move
They're
our
going to
bikes
go
here?
on board, don't worry. No, don't worry. You don't
Yeah,
have to.
okay.
One on here, and I need...
Eventually, with my permission, and with the whole team having tackled GDPR with aplomb, the lady in the booth phoned a friend of hers in the UK and got him to make the change on my behalf using my login. Mike was duly removed from our joint ticket. There was no refund given, or expected frankly, but we were finally able to join the queue for the ferry. The whole process was frustrating, but you can't blame the people at the ferry terminal. They were doing their best to help.
And turn to the left and keep on going straight up to the police control.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm going to have to stick this on my nose again.
Yeah. Turn to the left.
And that's the...
Keep going to police control.
After a full half an hour's delay, we were finally on the way and we thought we were home and dry. However, the forces of fate and Brittany Ferries hadn't quite done messing with us, not just yet. We paraded onto the ferry in close formation and duly lined up to have our bikes secured for the voyage. Now the deckhands here clearly thought that Steve's GS was too tall or too wobbly, or maybe they just didn't like GS's. Anyway, look at this rather over-enthusiastic ratcheting down of the suspension to hold the bike in place. We didn't really notice at the time, but I guess turning a GS into a mini Moto and leaving it that way for 30 hours while she crossed the water isn't really very good for it. After the events of the day though, we were just glad to be on the ferry and settle down with a sensible drink. I mean, it was mainly water, honest. Definitely no doubles here. And of course, we were careful to make sure we took in a balanced diet on the trip. Once across in the UK, we only had a fairly short ride to our staging post, the Gables Hotel near Bristol, which is where we'd set out from 5 weeks ago. After a celebratory full English breakfast in the morning, it was time to head out to the bikes for a quick run to Liverpool to catch the ferry back to the lovely Isle of Man. It was only then that we discovered the effects of the over-enthusiastic tying down on the ferry from Santander.
Now it's maybe time to review the reliability of the bikes. Now they've both been pretty damn good. Now my bike's a 21 Tiger 900 and it hasn't dropped a stitch anywhere, which is kind of what I'd expect. Steve's bike, however, well, that's a 27-year-old Beamer. Lovely bike, and actually, to be fair, has not dropped a stitch right away until we were on the M27 last night, and then suddenly it's dropping its guts everywhere. That, we believe, is the rear shock. So at the very best, we're going to be limping home with Steve riding a pogo stick. But don't worry, I'll be behind him and I'll make sure to record every step of the way.
With no time to make any repairs, we elected to take A and B roads rather than the motorway and just do our best to limp home. We had plenty of time on our side. Apart from slowing us down a little, the suspension didn't really cause too many problems. And we made it back to Liverpool in good time.
Thank you very much.
All we needed now was to board the ferry with no hold-ups, which of course meant it was odds on that one of us was going to get selected for a thorough security check.
Again.
Just the one.
Bugger. I knew it was all going too well.
Let him go.
After a speedy and of course obligatory cavity search, we were cleared to join the ferry queue. Well, one other bike really. The ferry journey to the Isle of Man is a delight and is always relaxing, as you can see here. And just a few hours later, we were back in the Isle of Man and we were greeted by typical island weather. Cold, wet, shiny, dark roads. It's great to be back home. Now these tours are always hard work, very rewarding, but hard work. It took a good few weeks for both of us to get over the exertions of the 5-week tour, but it hasn't put us off, far from it. Starting in June 2025, that's this year, Steve and I are off on a trip from the Isle of Man all the way down through Europe and the Balkans to the Black Sea in Bulgaria. It'll be a 6-week, 6,000-mile trip, taking us out of our comfort zone and into the Balkans, where the normal rules of Europe simply don't apply. If you want to keep up with this year's trip, please make sure that you're subscribed and notified, and we'll keep you in the loop. And whilst you're at it, why not pop a comment or a like to this video? Thanks for watching and supporting the channel. Keep safe, and we'll see you on the road.